And what is all of this stuff that you're hiding behind, Amanda?
It's our...
You can also see that these little clamps, these little plastic clamps that are holding the trusses in place have broken. Yep, you're seeing that right, folks. 6 inches, less than 6 inches of snow in northern Ontario in January. Now, that's not normal at all. And it's coming. The snow is definitely coming. So that kind of got me thinking about the little hoop house that we have here. Now, the big question is going to be, will this stand up to the snow load we get? That isn't necessarily ready for the snow, or at least I'm worried that it might not be. So today I'm going to head down there and do a little bit of work inside and see what we can do just to give it a little bit of extra support. Because when that snow hits, it's going to hit us hard, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple feet dumped on us in one night. I'm going to need a hand in the greenhouse for a little bit. Check this out. This is where the coyotes and wolves, this is their little path across Lake Inferior here. See them quite often first thing in the morning, looking out the windows. We got to keep caddis inside until they leave. This is our little hoop house. It's roughly 16 feet by 10 feet. The actual structure of the greenhouse is built using cedar and pine logs as the base, and then we used old pallets that we cut to size for the sides of the greenhouse. We have a decent sized ridge beam in the top just for extra support for the snow load. The trusses are just plastic PVC electrical conduit. We'll still have to be active with snow removal when we get big snowfalls, but so far the greenhouse has been shedding snow as it should. So let's go inside and figure out what we need to do to brace this little hoop house in the snow. Unlike last year, we were smart enough to move all of our gardening stuff into the greenhouse before the snow hit, because last year everything was buried under several feet of snow and we had to dig it all out. My biggest concern here with the snow load is these things kinking, which is quite possible, and I want to do what we can to prevent that. You can also see that these little clamps, these little plastic clamps that are holding the trusses in place have broken, probably from freezing. This one's actually put a little hole in here that I'm gonna have to fix up. So we're gonna have to fix that too. Probably the easiest way to get these things off. There it goes. That's one. That's that one. So this should be up there. Look at how bent it is. Going down there. I think what we're gonna do is use this metal strapping, and we're going to use this to attach all of the trusses where they need to be attached. So we'll stick this up here, wrap it around, just hold that in place. And we'll put some cardboard on top of the strapping so that there's something between the metal and the plastic up here, just to keep it from ripping the plastic. We have a bunch of these poles that we pulled out of the snow down here. These are actually going to be used for fencing at some point, and Caddis is keeping an eye on them for us. We'll cut them to the proper size. I'm going to attach them to the beds at the bottom here. I am just going to use the same strapping and cardboard for these posts that I used up on the ridge beam there. So we'll just do that with all the posts. Not the best solution, but better than nothing, that's for sure. It only has to get us through till spring, and then we can put some proper bracing in here. Just not interested in doing it right now.
1 down, 10 to go. 9 to go.
Not really the prettiest solution, but they're pretty stable. And I think that will get us through the winter and at least prevent the trusses from buckling and kinking so that hopefully we can reuse them again. And what is all of this stuff that you're hiding behind, Amanda?
It's our beans, our dried beans. So we pulled the whole plant out from the garden and we hung it here to dry. We got our first snowfall that stuck around today. It's gone now, but it stuck around for about 5 hours. And what that told us is we really need to get the beans out of the garden. We've been waiting for a dry day, and that doesn't seem to be happening. So we are going to gather up these beans now that the snow has melted from the bed, and we are going to hang them inside the greenhouse, the hoop house, which is so much warmer and drier. We have 2 varieties of beans planted here. We have black turtle beans as well as orchid beans, which is a black and white bean. Then we also have some climbing beans that we let go to seed, like some of our rattlesnake beans that we'll also be collecting. So all these we will dry and use for our dried beans. Still have peppers here in the greenhouse. We have some tomatoes, but they're probably not going to ripen. But it is still pretty warm in here, so who knows? We have all of our bush beans hung up now. Takes up the whole greenhouse. That's awesome though. So these are gonna get to drying so we can process them. And now they're very much sufficiently dry, so I think it's time that we shell all these beans so we can have our dried bean supply inside the house.
This little hoop house is not intended for year-round use. This just extends our growing season by about a month on either end. And actually we could probably push that more like 2 months if we really wanted to, and we probably will in the future. This past summer it housed all of our pepper plants and about half of the tomato plants that we grew. It was late November or early December when we finally pulled the last of the harvest out of this greenhouse, which is great for us because first frost here is usually around the beginning of September. The next thing that I have to get going is this right here. This is our 4-season greenhouse, which is currently not in use. We stopped actually growing in it in, must have been mid-December. We pulled everything and we just wanted a little bit of a break. So let's have a little peek inside here and see what we have to do. Ah yes, just a huge mess in here. So we got to get this cleaned up.